Hi there, Oscar. So it looks like you've written your first set of essays for us. Great job. Let's take a look and see what you've written here. The first one is about schools, whether they should only educate or whether they should be entertaining as well. Let's see what you said. The main inherent objective of schools has always been to help students grow cognitively and emotionally. This goal is better met through an entertaining education instead of focusing only on teaching core subjects. This essay will explain the statement in detail with examples. So far, lovely. Very good. Firstly, converting classes into a fun experience smooths the learning path. Not only are these more enjoyable. Why? Because when you start a sentence with not only, you are basically committing yourself to using a certain grammatical function called inversion. Look it up or check it out in a upper level advanced grammar book. But when you use not only in the beginning of the sentence, then what follows is question form, not sentence form. So this should be, not only are these more enjoyable, but they impact how rapidly students learn. Get rid of the on. For instance, a recent study by the World Bank showed that Nepali schools that implemented fun activities in each of their core subjects had students with higher overall grades compared to those who failed to do this. Therefore, studying and having fun is not only pleasant, but advantageous for academic performance. Great. You know what I really like about this? You've talked about fun. You've talked about entertainment. And that is exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Rather than saying maybe, interactive lessons and, having, other things in classes, you posed this exactly the way you should, adding this element of fun and enjoyment and entertainment into the school. So good job. Secondly, making students believe schools are settings where you can have fun poses emotional, I don't know about poses, that's not really the right word here, offers emotional benefits, I think would be a better expression. For some, this could be considered as a escape, maybe you mean as an escape from family problems, while for others a place where you can help your school friends by just chatting. As an example of this, a recent study by the government of Peru found that forcing educators to be funnier in their classes decreased the proportion of suicides and depressive symptoms. Though the benefits of this experience are astounding, many schools do not value the importance of growing emotionally, and even less importance is given to making classes an entertaining environment. Again, I'm really happy with the way you've, excuse me, the way you've framed this. It's entirely on point. It's entirely accurate. So great work. To conclude, due to the reasons given above, I firmly believe making students enjoy their time while at school holds benefits both academically and emotionally. In fact, it is predicted that in the future, being extroverted is the right word here, and fun will be a requirement for teachers before starting to work. Okay, I'm really quite happy with this. I think that's pretty clear, especially for your first essay. It's excellent. Grammatically, very few things wrong. Lexically, just a couple of little mistakes. But the thing that's really exciting for me, apart from the fact that you have used the template correctly and you followed it, and it's a nice cohesive essay. What's really exciting for me is that you have discussed this issue exactly the way you're supposed to discuss it. And so that's really important. You've talked about entertainment. You've talked about fun. You've talked about enjoyment in school. A lot of candidates who write this essay focus on the wrong thing. You haven't done that, and so that's a great starting point, okay? Congratulations, Oscar. So let's take a look now at your second essay and see what you did with that one. I think it's the one about an activity with a child as opposed to reading. Let's see what you said. People used to believe that reading was for children the key to a better development. Get rid of the A here. Was the key to better development. This is no longer the case. Nowadays, all right, let's get rid of the word kids. We never use kids in IELTS essays. It's just informal, okay? And I want you to remember that IELTS is an academic test. Whether you're taking general or academic, you still need to write in an academic fashion. And so there are certain expressions and words that you want to avoid. First of all, no kids. It's always children. All right, or children, or youngsters, or youth, or, there are other words that you can use, but certainly not kids, which is just too informal. Also, we never use contractions. So you write the words fully out, never won't, don't, can't, etc. Also, you want to avoid phrasal verbs as they tend to sound a little informal. So find some sort of substitute for them should the need arise to use a phrasal verb. Okay, so let's look at this again. Nowadays, children who practice sports or play computer games develop better soft and cognitive skills. This essay will explain how children will benefit more if they perform these activities instead of reading. Okay, so far, fine. Firstly, playing computer games enhances the development of soft skills in children, such as teamwork, interpersonal relationships, and decision-making. For instance, a recent Johns Hopkins study found that children who spent more than 4 hours a week playing League of Legends were better at organizing study groups or homework teams at their schools, compared to those who played fewer hours. Therefore, reading alone is not sufficient. Secondly, practicing sports boosts the skills that every child needs to accurately comprehend, get rid of that ED, difficult subjects at school. A research cohort led by the World Health Organization showed that children who practice sports, either competitively or not, for at least a month in a period of 3 years had higher grades at school than their counterparts. Results remained consistent after controlling the analysis for reading habits. Due to this robust finding, reading is no longer the most important activity in the life of children. To conclude, because of the arguments and examples given above, I undoubtedly believe that practicing sports and playing computer games overcome reading regarding skills development. It is actually predicted that in the future, schools will implement electronic sports as part of their curricula, and that the number of hours dedicated to sports will overcome that of other subjects. Okay, so grammatically, very good, very accurate, nicely done. A lot of really good vocabulary, things like research cohort, I don't know, there was a lot. Controlling the analysis for reading. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that I liked here in terms of language. So, vocabulary, well done. Grammar, well done. Coherence and cohesion, well done. There's one problem, though, and the problem arises with your task achievement. Take a look at the task again. It asks you this: doing an enjoyable activity with a child can develop better skills and more creativity. You focused only on better skills. Okay? Both in this paragraph and in this paragraph. Nowhere did you talk about creativity. Nowhere did you talk about imagination. Here you talked about interpersonal relationships and decision making, but you never led this to have any sort of relation to imagination and creativity. Okay, so an examiner is going to look at this and say, gee, you know, it's wonderfully written, but you didn't deal with this part of the question, and that's absolutely going to cost you in terms of task achievement. It's only partially developed, okay? All you need to do is look at the band descriptors for task 2 to see what that's going to mean. So you have to absolutely cover all of these. These ands in the IELTS prompts are super important. So keep that in mind and be really, really aware of what they're asking you. I always say that it's definitely worthwhile to spend a couple of minutes looking at the task to make sure you've 100% understood it and are writing an answer that completely answers that task and nothing else. All right, so here's what you need to do now. You need to, number 1, correct these essays based on the suggestions in this video. Number 2, you need to send that back to us. Number 3, you need to write an error correction list. On that list, you'll write down the errors that were pointed out to you, and then next to each error, you'll write down what the corrected version is. Okay? That's a list that you're going to add to with each video correction you get back. And then the next thing you have to do, of course, is write a new set of essays. Try to do this within the next 24 hours or so that you can really apply everything you've been learning. Okay? So I'm here waiting to see what you will write for us next. So go ahead and get that started, and good luck on your next assignment.